This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on the India Central Asia Summit. The participants are Ashok Sajanhar, former ambassador, and Nilova Roy Chowdhury, journalist.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today hosted virtually the presidents of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan for the first ever India Central Asia Summit. This is a significant event, and in his opening remarks while welcoming the presidents of these five countries, Prime Minister clearly articulated the importance of this summit, saying, and I'm quoting here, "Today's summit has three main objectives. First, it is to make clear that cooperation between India and Central Asia is essential for regional security and prosperity. From an Indian point of view, I would like to emphasize that Central Asia is central to India's vision of an integrated and stable extended neighborhood." Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar, how vital exactly then is this India-Central Asia relationship? And, if you could give us a couple of reasons particularly.
Central Asia is very important for India because we term it as a part of our extended neighborhood. India and Central Asia, the five countries of Central Asia, which till 1991 were a part of the Soviet Union, and they got independence after the disintegration of the Soviet Union. So we have had cultural, civilizational, historical relations with each other because whether it was from 3rd century BCE till about 15th century CE, we had the Silk Road going through it. And even in the Soviet times, much closer in Soviet times, we had very strong partnership. But after they became independent, our relations have not really been able to take off. Although there is fund of goodwill between India and all these countries because of the issue of connectivity. We do not have proximate contiguous borders with any of these countries. And Pakistan, which falls between India and Central Asia, and also between India and Afghanistan. Afghanistan does not provide access to these countries through its territory. So that has been an issue, that has been a problem why our relations have really not been able to achieve the desired potential. But these countries are extremely rich in mineral resources, for instance, in hydrocarbons, whether it is oil or it is gas or it is uranium. Or the other countries, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, are very rich in water resources. So there is a great possibility, great potential for expanding our relations. And one more aspect, let me add here, which has become very relevant and significant more recently, that is the situation in Afghanistan. Because in Afghanistan, we have seen on 15th August, by force, by military power, the Taliban have taken charge, have assumed control. But although it is more than 5 months now, not a single country in the world has so far accorded diplomatic recognition to it.
Bilaterally with each of the Central Asian countries and regionally, how much has the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan affected the bilateral dynamic and the regional relationship?
I think that is a very important factor that has come up in the last few months. And in that context, the salience and relevance of Central Asia for India has increased very significantly. Before that, also, we were trying to, I mentioned about connectivity. We were trying to get over this problem by going through Chabahar. Now that initiative will increase much more. But coming to the security and stability and peace in Afghanistan, that is an issue which has, over the last few months, we saw the Delhi Regional Security Dialogue taking place, in which we had the secretaries of National Security Councils of all the 5 Central Asian countries, of course, in addition to their counterparts from Iran and Russia and India. And then we had the 3rd India-Central Asia Regional Dialogue taking place. And there also, all the 5 foreign ministers from Central Asian countries, they came to India. So these interactions, discussions took place, the Regional Security Dialogue in November and the Central Asia Dialogue in December. So they have come and there were consensus documents that were adopted by both these meetings, and there we find that there is a great similarity of views as far as dealing with the issues in Afghanistan is concerned. The
Right.
first aspect, of course, is in terms of having an inclusive government in Afghanistan so that the human rights of all minorities, whether it is Tajiks who comprise anything between 32 to 46% of the population in Afghanistan, Tajiks, Uzbeks, Hazaras, Shias, their rights are protected, and also the rights of women and children are protected.
Right.
And Afghanistan is not used as a staging ground for launching terror attacks against its neighbors and other countries. And we have seen what has happened in Kazakhstan earlier this month in January. And the Kazakh president, Mr. Tokayev, in his address to the nation on 5th of January, he said that there were Afghan terrorists who were present amongst those who were indulging in violence and bloodshed in Kazakhstan. So that lends it even greater urgency and importance.
The other problem also seems to be the narcotics that, given the fact that no country is recognizing the Taliban and their economy is almost collapsed, the only way the Taliban can really shore up any finances are by perhaps narcotics and, growing opium and so on again, which is a hazard to all of, not only to India, but all of the Central Asian countries, which even bordering Afghanistan.
I would say that that is some sort of a false equivalence. Why do I say that? Because, before the Taliban came in, it is not as if they were not engaging in drug trafficking. And it is my considered view that even if, countries were to recognize the Taliban and recognize the Taliban government dispensation, that they would resist, that they would stop engaging in drug trafficking. I think this is a sort of an argument that is being made principally by Pakistan, basically to tell the international community that you need to recognize them, that you need to engage economically with them, that you need to give them economic aid and support and sustenance. Otherwise, they will go on for drug trafficking. You see, drug trafficking has been going on in Afghanistan for a long time. Of course, the international community and the Taliban together need to find a solution for that. But this is no solution that you start, even though they have not given any commitment. Although before coming to power, they had given all these commitments to other countries like US, like Russia, like China, like Iran, that they will not support terrorism, that they will control terrorism, all the terrorist groups who are in their territory. But after coming to power, they have not acted on any of those. And in fact, the consensus documents that I spoke about, or even the UN Security Council Resolution 2593, which was adopted on the 30th of August when India was the chair of the UNSC in that month. There also, what the Taliban says is that they have completed, they are meeting all those obligations, they are carrying out all those commitments, and they have nothing more to do. So I think this is not in my view, the right approach, but this is an argument that is being taken forward by Pakistan and the Taliban.
The Prime Minister spoke about the second objective in this relationship of this summit today being to give an effective structure to our cooperation. This will establish a framework of regular interactions at different levels and among various stakeholders. We've already seen several very important interactions recently. What exactly does this mean? This effective structure means what?
I think we'll have to see how it gets reflected going forward. But I find this extremely encouraging, and in several of my own writings, this is what I had also spoken about. I think one is definitely at the level of the national security advisors, because we had a meeting that took place in India, in Delhi, in November. That it was something that revolves from one country to the other. The first two meetings were held in 2018 and 2019 by Iran. India was to host it in 2020, but because of the pandemic, we were not able to host it. So I think what the government has in mind is to regularize and to give a formal structure to this meeting, to this interaction between the national security councils of the 5+1 these countries. The second structure, we already have, the India Central Asia Dialogue. The first meeting of that was held in Samarkand in January 2019, the second meeting in a virtual format in October 2020, and the third meeting in December when all the foreign ministers of these countries came to India. So underlining and emphasizing that this is also a regular structure. And the third, I think, most important would be in terms of having regular, periodic, summit-level interaction. When the Kyrgyz president was, in his introductory remarks, he said that we are having this first interaction in a virtual format, but I very sincerely hope that the next interaction of the summit, we will be able to meet in person. So I would very sincerely hope, if not an annual summit, at least once in 2 years, summit-level interaction. If that is decided, that would really give a very strong impetus to the bilateral relations. Because we know that in all these countries, Nilova, all the major decisions are really taken at the level of the presidents. So if the summit level interaction takes place, then I think in other areas of trade, of economy, of investment, and connectivity, which was the third element of the Prime Minister's objectives, there also we would be able to make very significant progress.
How then does this become a little different from, say, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization kind of summit level meetings, the SCO? I mean, all 5 Central Asian countries are part of it, as is India. So why would this particularly stand out and become that important?
There is no comparison. Number one, not all 5 countries of Central Asia are members. Turkmenistan is not a member of SCO.
Turkmenistan.
It's only the 4 countries. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is completely dominated by China and to a lesser extent by Russia. These 4 countries which are members of SCO, they have a voice, but a very soft, muffled voice. So, there you are talking about larger issues, so to say, and specifically of interest to India and Central Asia. You would not be talking there.
So would Central Asia, for example, also be looking to India to be able to give them sort of a balancing factor between these other 2 huge giants, particularly China now, which seems to be encroaching all over Central Asia?
Well, China has increased its footprint very significantly as far as Central Asia is concerned. That would be a matter of concern not only to other countries, but even to Russia. And Russia and China are very strong, close partners. Mr. Putin has said that he has a very strong personal relationship of trust with Mr. Xi Jinping. But I'm sure the increasing footprint of China in this region would be a matter of concern for Russia also. And that is why you would see, Nilova, that in the India-Russia summit on the 6th of December, one of the elements is how Russia and India can cooperate in Central Asia, and particularly in the area of defense, because we see that most of the defense equipment in Central Asian countries would be of Soviet and of Russian origin, as it is in India. So whether it is supplying spare parts or overhauling or servicing, there are so many things that Russia and India can work together. And both of them have also exchanged documents as to how we can go forward together as far as Central Asia is concerned.
India-Central Asia relations is going to be one of the particularly important relationships developing in the coming times. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on the India-Central Asia Summit. The participants were Ashok Sajanhar, former ambassador, and Nilova Roy Chowdhury, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsttalks@gmail.com.